Between 9 and 10 wideouts go in rounds 2 and 3 combined over the last 10 years on average. So let's find up a couple more here, DJ. Who's one you could see on Friday in Las Vegas?
Well, one of the fun topics of the last week or so has been, does DK Metcalf get traded? And if he does get traded, let's just go down that road a little bit. You want a younger option, a cheaper option. How about Alec Pierce from Cincinnati as somebody with kind of that height, weight, speed? Again, go up and get the football. We saw him do that for Desmond Ridder time and time again. The Notre Dame game has an unbelievable catch in that one. Now, he's not DK Metcalf. Don't get that twisted. But this is somebody that's got a chance to come in and play early and can give you some of that speed that you might potentially lose if that trade does go down.
Yeah, and he's one of the only players in college football to catch a touchdown on Ahmad Gardner during his career.
Practice, there you go.
With Sauce. All right, guys, I've really got a chance to know Wan'Dale Robinson a little bit, covering the Big Ten a bunch, like I enjoy doing there with my Hoosiers. But there at Nebraska, he was kind of a dual threat, right? Used him a lot as a running back there, so he has that in his tool bag if you need it. And then just, in one season at Kentucky after transferring, was the program's single-season leader now in receptions and receiving yards.
Took a shot
on Liam Cohen's offense there. He is a tough dude, and I love the fit with the Bears here. They need some juice on offense. Tariq Cohen's gone to kind of provide that element for their offense as a free Allen. Robinson's gone. Let's support Justin Fields by getting him an absolute playmaker at the position. So I love Wan'Dale Robinson as a day 2 pick of the Chicago Bears.
Oh, look, now I'm not going to let you talk about the Packers' rival without one-upping you.
Okay,
I've been a long-time Packer. I'm going to do what the Packers traditionally do. I'm not going to get a receiver in the first round, but if I go in the second round,
he's never going to do that.
How about we venture up to Boise and let's go get Khalil Shakir to be able to take advantage of what the Packers
Vista Marietta's own Khalil Shakir.
Develop the wide receiver. This is a guy that is an outstanding route runner. You can see him make plays with the ball in his hands because he has a little run after catch ability. And if you know anything about the Packers, they love these guys that have a little dynamic ability. You think about the tradition and the legacy that the Green Bay Packers have when it comes to finding receivers in the second and third round. Khalil Shakir could certainly fit the bill.
Reminded me of Amon-Ra St. Brown, another day 2 receiver we saw last year do good things there for the Detroit Lions. Fourth round.
Yeah, great value for Detroit.
This is a side note. I don't know, see Bucky has the handkerchief there. That's because if the Packers take a wide receiver in the first round, he's going to be having a towel off and recover. That's why.
It's the 20th anniversary of the last time they took one in the first
round.
Walker,
come on. It's time.
How did it work out for him?
It is time. Let's celebrate that anniversary. Let's move on here and now talk a little bit about the cornerbacks, because on day 2, we generally see between 8 and 9 cornerbacks selected in the draft. So let's find one here. And Bucky, you're up first on this one. Give me a day 2 corner and a team that could fit.
Okay, so we're going to go to a place that's really produced corners. How about Washington, Kyler Gordon? And let's put him with the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are desperate to make sure that they don't have what happened last year where they ran out of corners. So now you get Kyler Gordon to go in that secondary that already has Marlon Humphreys and Marcus Peters. You have a guy that is a high IQ corner, great footwork and ball skills. This is a guy that could be terrific in that system.
Going back to UW there, Marcus Peters, go get another one.
Sidney Jones, we saw, and so, Kyler Gordon is a dude who got some work, right, opposite Trent McDuffie in his career. I'll give you one more. I love the big corners. So let's go to the home of the origin story for big corners in the NFL, and that's Seattle. And let's give him UTSA's Tariq Woolen. At just over 6'3". The dude blazed the Lucas Oil Stadium turf at the Combine with that 4.2 40. He's only been playing the cornerback position for the last couple seasons, was a converted wide receiver. Looked a little bit stiff. I felt like watching him do some of those DB drills at the Combine, and you could probably see some of that on tape too. But, man, a big, fast, and physical corner there. Look, it went Brandon Browner, Richard Sherman with the Legion of Boom there. I can see Tariq Woolen being a fit if you want to run that back.
I like that one. I just hear in my head right now, I hear Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant and the Indianapolis Colts is the fit that I love here. You talk about Cincinnati. Cincinnati, by the way, had a good football team last year. I think we've talked about 7 of their players already today.
In a second.
Kobe Bryant, to me, the ability to find, locate, and play the football, that is his strength. What do they love with the Indianapolis Colts and the scheme that they deploy? They want eyes on the quarterback. He's outstanding when he has his eyes on the quarterback. I think that's a perfect fit there for him and the Colts.
There you go. What a talented defense that was. And you're going to hear more about it here in just a second as we talk linebackers now. Again, between 8 and 9 linebackers generally go on day 2, something we could see again this year, maybe more of the sweet spot for the linebacker in this year's draft, especially when we're talking about the off-the-ball ball guys, right? Not necessarily the outside pass rusher type. So, DJ, lead us off with a player and a fit here from the linebacker.
Yeah, Leo Chenal from Wisconsin is a big, physical, 250-pound linebacker who actually can run a little bit. Now, there's a touch of tightness, but if you think about somebody who might appreciate a big, physical, instinctive linebacker that maybe was a little bit tight, might be Chris Spielman. Last I checked, Chris was an incredible NFL linebacker in his work here with the Lions. Maybe he gets in Dan Campbell's ear and says, hey, this guy kind of reminds me of me a little bit.
Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, would you like that?
I think it would be. I do. What do you got? Actually, I'll take this one next year because, why not just go back to Cincinnati? And I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be 100% honest. Didn't know a ton about Darian Beavers before I saw him play my Hoosiers this past year.
Okay.
And I was like, why are they putting a 3 technique on the second level here? This is a big dude that was always around the football at Cincinnati. And look, I think the Giants would love to have a player of that caliber and of that size on the second level. They got Blake Martinez, coming back, but coming off an injury. I think he could fit right in there with the Giants, Buck.
I mean, he is really an impressive player. He's a little thick. He's a little thick, sturdy guy, and so I can understand where he goes problematic.
By the way, before you go, can we go on record? 0 is dumb. Like,
what you mean? Like
what do we wear at 0? Well, I'm off 0.
Oh, come on. I like 0. And look, if I could give you another 0, I would go right now. But I'm going to go at Chicago because Matt Eberflus is coming over to take over their defense. And so we got to get him some guys that can hit, run, and chase. How about Quay Walker from Georgia coming on board? And when we look at the tape, there's a lot to like. And look, coming straight
That's a big man.
Downhill. Fast, physical, being able to read it, blow it up, and we love to see guys that can just kind of get over the top. We see the lateral quickness. Think about playing in this defense. Eberflus wants those guys to hustle hard, make big plays, physicality, get him to play in space. He can work over top of this block, and he's going to track it down. I just think about the way the Chicago Bears want to play defense. Quay Walker, to me, is a perfect fit because you also get the added advantage of this guy being able to blitz. He adds dimensions to this defense. You get a chance to put him beside Roquan Smith. I think this defense could be lights out really quickly.
Bulldogs all over the place.
Well, last thing you want to be is static and predictable defensively. And a guy like Quay Walker is that chess piece you can move around and you don't give the quarterback that same look, which is a huge advantage for your defense. So that's why I think you're going to see him continue to kind of move up 4 teams. But, guys, I got to be honest with you. I mean, Kevin Duckworth wore 00. I mean, like, only thing worse than 1-0 would be two zeros. Come on. What's a Duckworth 00? That's that. Come on, we're done.
Robert Parrish?
We talked to Jelani Woods this week on Path to the Draft.
Yeah,
Number
0.
Because
nobody's better.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Come on. Get off DJ's lawn while we're at it here. All right, we're going to find out here what's going on, where some of these linebackers that we were just talking about are going to end up when we kick off the 2022 NFL Draft right here on NFL Network on April 28th.
Robert Parrish wore 00?
First 32 picks again for you at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Gilbert Arenas, another one.
From Las Vegas. When we come back here on Path to the Draft, superstars come in all shapes and sizes, right? They can be found anywhere in the draft. And next, we're on the hunt for some value when we come back, as we also got the Body Shop coming up here for you as well.
Rodgers staying with the Packers.
The highest paid player in NFL history.
Come here, man. Great ball.
Russell Wilson, he's going to Denver.
The missing piece on a team that is built to win. Let's go, come on.
Carson Wentz is a commander.
Indianapolis gave up on
One of them days.
Tom Brady changing his mind and will be back in 2022.
Deshaun Watson, now a member of the Cleveland Browns.
This is big time.
What's happening, football world?
Matt Ryan fills the gap left by Wentz.
This team feels like they can win right now.
Catch that spark and go.
That was big.
How about the trades that we have seen over the course of the last few weeks? Really started with Russell Wilson and the move from Seattle to Denver, and the quarterback trades have been insane. The wide receiver trades have been as big as we have ever seen in the league. Oh, by the way, the Bears traded Khalil Mack to the LA Chargers. And for a closer look at the value of all of these trades, let's go back to DJ and Bucky's conversation here, using the trade chart to kind of work this thing out.
This has been the offseason of trades, right? We've seen the big trades, we've seen the quarterback trades, we've seen the wide receiver trades. So when you go and look at the compensation, I always get asked a question about the trade chart and how accurate is the trade chart and do teams work off the trade chart. I think I've got some compelling information to tell you. Absolutely, they're working off the trade chart here. So let's look at the quarterback trades here first. Let's just look at Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. So when you hear the compensation, it sounds a little different, right? The Texans, they send out Deshaun Watson and a 6th-round pick in 24. Mm-hmm. They got back the 13th pick this year, their 4th-round pick, which is 107, a 1 and a 3 next year, and a 1 and a 4 the following year. So that's the compensation, right? And when you use the trade chart, just kind of the way it works is, on average, if you get a future first-round pick, you put it as the 18th overall selection. So you're just kind of playing average and saying, okay, let's assume that this next first-round pick is going to be
right in the middle.
Pick 18, park it right there. So when you do that, the value ends up being, you add up all the points, like the 13th pick's worth 1,150 points, and you go all the way down through all the picks that they got. The total ends up being 3241.4 points. So to give you context of what that cost them, the first overall pick in the draft is 3,000 points. So they acquired Deshaun Watson for the equivalent of the first overall pick in the draft and the 70th overall pick in the draft, which really doesn't seem like that much. You just heard all those picks, right? But when you just look at the points in the chart,
doesn't look like that much.
That's what you get. So I'm going to get to the Wilson trade, and then I want to get your thoughts on this thing. So Wilson, they get the Broncos receive Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. Same, instead of a 6th-rounder, they get a 4th. Then the Seahawks receive some players here: Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris. Then the 9th pick this year, the 1st round. The 40th pick this year, the 2nd round. 145th pick in the 5th round. A 23-1, and then a 23-2. So those points, when you add them all up, 3121.5. And then you're also getting, the players here when you add the players in. So 31-21 and 32-41, almost identical. So that is the equivalent of 3,000 points. So we the first overall pick, the 95th overall pick, and then Fant and Shelby Harris when you add those. Those
as you like to say, a little sugar. Throw a little
sugar on top.
A little sugar on top.
But doesn't that kind of crystallize it when you say, man, that's a lot to give up? But when you do the points, you're basically trading the first overall pick plus a little extra.
But see, here's the thing about that, right? Because you and I talk about it, and we talk about how for so long people were married to picks and they didn't want to give up those picks. But then when you start putting faces on some of those picks, it changes. Because depending on a given year, the number 1 overall pick might be Jared Goff. It might be some Myles Garrett. You don't know, but that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the number 1 overall pick, and then we would have to do a study to figure out what's the 70th overall pick. But you're talking about a 3rd-round pick that is hit or miss when it comes to most accounts. And so now I think I would take this information, and it would make me be even more daring when it came to acquiring a quarterback. And if I could pry a quarterback free. Because the one thing that you like about both of these guys, Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, they're proven commodities in terms of we've seen these guys play at Pro Bowl level, All-Star level, whatever level you want to talk about. They have been recognized as being one of the 5 best at their position. And with the quarterback position being the most important in football, I think you make that deal and you feel good about it because it gives you stability and it gives you a chance.
Well, and it just begs the question. In this draft, would you take Deshaun Watson with the first overall pick? We're putting everything, obviously, in context, off the field stuff, off the field stuff. As a player, would you take him with the first overall pick this year?
Yes.
Russell Wilson, would you take him with the first overall pick?
Yes, head and shoulders above what is coming out. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a great example of when you kind of put the numbers with the chart on there, how it makes sense and how the compensation was different in terms of the collection of picks and how they orchestrated those trades.
But the numbers got to the same.
The value was the same. All right, let's get to the 2 big receiver trades here, Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill. So Davante Adams went for pick 22 and 53. You add up those points, it's 1,150 points, which is the equivalent of the 13th overall pick. So that's for Davante Adams. Tyreek Hill, when you add up the points, 1,150.6.
13th overall pick.
Identical, which is the 13th overall pick. So when you look at those, and then if you look at the Jets trade offer, which was out there, which was pick 35 and 38 in the second round, and then they would have swapped thirds. So that total ended up being 1227, which is the equivalent of a little more than the 11th pick, not as much as a 12th pick. So the Jets offer to the Chiefs was actually a little bit better.
Yep.
But you can see the number 1 wide receiver trades, obviously you got to pay him the cash, but the pick equivalent is
a mid-first round pick.
11, 12, 13.
Yeah, I mean that's what
you trade that for those guys all day long.
And that's what we're talking. That's what we're talking about, players and picks and those things. Now, to be fair, with both of those deals, the other part of it has to be you're giving up basically the 13th pick, and you
got to pay him cash too.
You got to pay a little cash. You got to pay 22 to 25 million per. But depending on where you are, I would say in the team building process, you do that for a short-term fix. Because I think the other thing is, age-wise, what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at these guys. I think both of the deals are where they're done. They're 3-year deals.
Yeah.
In essence, 3 years. By the third year, you have to make a decision whether you're going to re-up it or move on. But you're trying to get an elite wide receiver in their prime to coincide with a 3-year run.
All right, when we come back here on Move the Sticks, back to the Body Shop. New York has 2 picks in the top 10. Will the Giants use them both? And in Washington, should the offense or defense be the focus come draft day? We're going to round out the NFC East division and the Body Shop when we come back. Path to the draft, back here with you this evening and each and every weeknight up until and through the 2022 NFL Draft. Joined, of course, by DJ Bucky, Charles Davis, Brian Baldinger. We got a cast of thousands giving you the best draft knowledge in the business here weeknight, 6 p.m. Eastern, all here on NFL Network. Back here on Move the Sticks, though, time to get back into the body shop. And for new general manager Joe Schoen and new head coach Brian Daboll, the list is pretty long here for the New York Giants about how they're trying to fix this team. So, DJ, though, what should priority number one be?
Well, I still think you're trying to support Daniel Jones. You do that best with the offensive line. And Akeem Ekwonu is a player that just makes so much sense. If he were to get to that 5th overall pick where they are, you take him and you plug him in right at right tackle. Played on that left side at NC State. I don't think he'll have any difficulty making the transition over to the other side. Play guard, play tackle, doesn't matter. This kid gives you a little identity, a little physicality to that front.
He certainly upgrades the front. But I think let's go to the defensive side of the ball, because when you look at when the Giants have traditionally been good, it's because their defense has been able to carry the water. And they're able to carry the water when they have their defensive guys like a Jermaine Johnson, a pass rusher, someone that can come in and do some of those things that you want to see off the edge. And so with Jermaine Johnson being able to give them sack production, it allows them to maybe play more coverage without having to blitz. So it's about dominating the trenches on offense and defense for the Giants to play like they want to play.
Well, I know Rhett's favorite song is Call Me Maybe, and I think that is going to be what Joe Schoen is getting out there. Who sings that, by the way? Carly something.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
I was right. I was this close.
For that pop culture.
They're going to try and get out. Everybody in the league believes that 5 or 7, they don't pick there. Nobody wants to pay 2 top 10 picks, especially when you look at their salary cap situation and where they are. It makes a lot more sense to them to trade back and even try and get some assets for next year.
Now, but if they do stick and pick there, I mean, you mentioned supporting Daniel Jones is a big piece of this thing. How difficult is the evaluation for New York as they weigh whether to pick up that 5th-year option, which has not been exercised just yet?
Yeah, I don't know that I would necessarily pick up the 5th-year option at this point in time. I think your best move is try and build up around him, and then this is a 1-year audition here. If he plays great, you've got the franchise tag leverage going forward. You can use that. But that would be the direction I'm going. I think this draft slants heavily to the offense.
Yeah, I think it's a smart decision to kind of wait on Daniel Jones, and it could be beneficial for him if he plays well. This will be the first time that he has someone that can really build an offense around his talents. Coming out of Duke, he's a guy who is athletic. He has arm talent. Now let's see what Brian Daboll is able to do with him. We saw what he did with Josh Allen. Daniel Jones is not the same talent, but he certainly is an athletic playmaker. We'll see if he can maximize his talent potential, and maybe he can get paid.
It's in your head, though. I can already tell that song is just playing in your head on a loop right now.
It is. It's 100% going to be on when we do our next mock draft here using the PFF simulator. That's going to be playing in the background for sure. All right, let's continue the body shop here by putting the Washington Commanders into the shop and trying to figure out what they need to do now that we think have their quarterback in Carson Wentz. Have spent some pretty good resources to go and get him. So, Bucky, where do the Commanders go next?
So when you're building your team and Ron Rivera has to look at his team and look at the teams within the division, he needs a corner on the outside that can deal with some of the weapons. And so Derek Stingley could be sitting there for the Commanders. And when we think about Stingley and the talent that he brings to the field, he is someone who has the opportunity to be a high-end cornerback. And when Ron Rivera had a high-end quarterback and Josh Norman, he was able to do special things with that defense. Different styles of players, but this is a top player. If they can kind of unlock the consistency and the potential, we're talking about an all-pro caliber player on the edge.
Man, he is an easy mover. When you watch him move around, you just see it on those clips. Look, I look at the safety position. Kyle Hamilton's been kind of one of those players we've seen. Does he start to drift and fall in this draft? Man, I think it would be a tremendous value as my 4th overall pick to be able to get him right here with this pick. I think you turn that card in. You run that card in. You start with the range that he possesses. Think about that division. You want to get the perimeter run game going. He can help eliminate that with his range, his speed to the alley. He's a firm tackler when he gets down there. Here's the interception. I think we've seen this 900 times.
Yes, we have.
During the draft process.
Length, baby.
Great pick.
Yeah.
When you go all the way from one hash to the other and toe tap on the sideline to finish, it gives you an idea of what he's made of. And speaking of what you're made of, I love watching special teams tape. You don't see many star players, potential top 10 players in drafts still competing on special teams, and not only just being out there dominating as a gunner.
Also, you don't put slow guys out there as a gunner, and so everybody wants to talk about the 40-yard dash time for Kyle Hamilton. You got the play speed there, and you can see it, back in the back end, and of course on special teams there as well. So now that's a little bit about Kyle Hamilton on the field. How about off the field? Let's learn a little bit more about the Notre Dame stud here in his first draft.
Action.
Rolls deep down the sideline, and it's broken up by the outstanding safety, Kyle Hamilton.
Some of my best skills, my range, my ball skills, ability to go up, attack the ball. Really like to go attack it and get picks.
And that ball is intercepted. That is the All-American Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton, safety, University of Notre Dame. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Growing up in Atlanta, it was like a really big city, and people there are really cool. So my dad, Derek Hamilton, is a professional basketball player. Played basketball at the University of Southern Miss and played overseas in Europe and around the world. I was born in Greece because of that, so I'm a Greek citizen as well as American. I was in the gym a lot, and that's kind of our bonding point. Basketball was the family sport, but not for me. Ever since I was about 5 years old, I knew football was a sport for me.
Drilled by Kyle Hamilton.
It's a big comparison, but I try to model my game after Sean Taylor.
Picked off Sean Taylor.
He's a great athlete and did a lot of things well, and hopefully I can get to that level. I grew up a big LSU fan. Odell Beckham was probably my favorite player growing up. He was my screensaver in middle school. I used to repost his Instagram videos on my Instagram. Hopefully get to go against him one day. I'm telling myself when I get that phone call draft day that I'm not gonna cry. I feel like everything I've done up to that point is gonna flash before my eyes. All the sweat, blood, tears that's gone into the sport. It's definitely gonna be a moment that I have to step back and appreciate. But at that point, it's ready to get to the real work. So get to appreciate the moment, but focus shifts to being a pro at that point.
Oh, Kyle talking about not crying. I feel like the waterworks are going to come here. However, this is a week to stay out of the water, stay out of the drink. It's Masters week, so let's put one in the fairway. So coming up next, which player in this year's draft is the safest pick? All right, each week, here's what you get. 3 episodes of Move the Sticks, and you can get them downloaded right to your smartphone by scanning that QR code with the camera app on your phone. You get that latest episode as soon as it becomes available and wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, time to go in the sticks now. We've kind of worked our way through. We talked a lot about some of the top guys in the first round. We went day 2. Give us somebody maybe on day 3 that might be a player that we're not talking about yet.
I'm going to go Northern Iowa, which has been quite a football factory. Kurt Warner, you're welcome here. But they've got a receiver in Isaiah West and ran really well, ran in the mid-4.4s. He can play inside. He can play outside. Really good working down the seam. So somebody I think you probably hear his name called that probably 6th, 6th round range. I think he makes your team as a 4th wide receiver and only up from there.
Can't wait to see him go up against Mike Hilton. For sure. All right.
So cheesy.
Come on. It's just, oh,
so
you're calling. There we go.
Come on.
All right.
Man. Let's bring it up a level
ridiculous.
here. Let's try to be a little more mature.
Guys, it's Masters week. Yeah. I'm not a big golfer. I have no idea how to get it straight down the fairway. Really? Yeah. Definitely do not. But we are going to stick these picks right down the middle of the fairway here, Bucky. So give us a safe pick here. Let's lay it up here. Let's not try to reach the green in one tee.
Oh, we can put it right down the middle of the fairway. And I'm going to say Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan is as safe as they come when it comes to picks in this draft. It's not only about the production and the performance. It's about what he brings in terms of being an A-plus athlete, an outstanding player, great football character. It is, look, put it on the tee, get your little 5-iron out, and just right down the middle.
I like that one. Hutchinson would probably be my pick, too, to be honest with you. But if I'm going to say the next one in line to me, I'll go Trent McDuffie, which, by the way, is a great golfer name. And you see Trent McDuffie?
Yeah.
I mean, probably not. Or the what's where they play against the Ryder Cup? Trent McDuffie would be unbelievable in the Ryder Cup. No, he's clean. He's clean. You can play him anywhere. We talk about his intelligence. That, to me, is the difference maker. He can come in. He not only can know what to do, he's going to be able to tell people what to do. There's a big difference there.
I feel like I'm the only golfer on here. Like, based on
I don't watch golf. I don't watch golf. I don't play golf.
I feel like I'm the only guy that just go over here putting it down.
I got the Ryder Cup.
It's
the Ryder Cup, right?
Wow.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got the right. You got the Ryder Cup part right for sure. All right, guys. I think that's essentially it here for us. But as I mentioned, like, we've got all sorts of draft content coming your way over the course of the next 21 days.
No more golf, we promise.
That's just the last of the golf. We were told that it was Masters week. Bucky knew, but we were like, what else is going on? Okay. So there's some safe picks for you, and we'll be back here with you on Path to the Draft a little bit later today, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for that. When's the next mock draft
bowling, to be honest with you.
DJ has to be next up, right?
We do some pickleball? We get any of this action going?
Achilles. That's out.
See you later.